Boards and booze, booze and boards, drink some beers, fight some hordes. Drank too much, forgot our swords, ran back home, filled our gourds, got drunk again, sang some chords. Boards and booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb.
Howdy, Jeb.
Pow! Ma'am.
Jeb's feeling his Western today, people.
Yep, that's how you win in the Old West.
That wasn't even a fair duel. I just got shot.
That's how you win in the Old West.
That's how you win in the Old West. Why are we talking about the Old West and why do we have cowboy hats on? Because today we are doing the Kickstarter Rail Raider Infinite by the Ninja Division of Soda Pop Miniatures.
Yep.
Both of us backed this on Kickstarter. Both of us.
Mickey got his first.
I did by a day.
By a day.
Well, actually, I got to see mine by a day.
Yeah.
His was delivered at a different address,
Yep.
So he had to go get it. But anyways, it just came out.
Yep.
I mean, you guys are basically gonna see us. You know, we've had the game for maybe 48 hours.
We've played one playthrough just to kind of get a feel of the game.
Yep.
And then we played a playthrough that we recorded, which is
what you're going to see. So that's it. So
and we've actually looked online, and we haven't really seen any rules questions or anything resolution that stuff. So it really is really fresh.
Right. It's fresh. So if you see something that we totally botched up, feel free to comment and stuff. You don't need to bash us because we tried to get this thing out as quick as possible. It's not like this is an advanced preview. And then we had a lot of coaching. That being said, I really don't think we got that much wrong.
Right.
We did during the playthrough though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of, but that's why we do a
playthrough. We learned a lot.
Yeah, but you'll see it during the video. You'll see a couple mistakes that we catch.
Yep.
And then tell you about it, and hopefully you won't make those mistakes when you play because you'll be like, oh, wait a second, those guys did that, and yeah, we shouldn't do that. So anyways,
about the game, right?
The game
2 to 4 players.
2 to 4 players. I don't. Oh, this is the fancy Kickstarter box. I do not see the. I don't see the designer of the game on here. Maybe I can find it.
Oh, there's a credits page.
Woohoo! Chris Birkenhagen, John Candace, David Freeman, Kaya Nesbitt, and Mrs. Nesbitt, and Deke Stella are the.
It's who it's by.
Yeah, but that's who it's by, but the game design is credited towards David Freeman, and he's part of the. That whole list that I just read. So I guess I was reading artists and all that kind of stuff too. Anyways, that's that.
What's it about, Mickey?
It is about you are outlaws and you are gonna raid the train and get ma'am.
Oh.
Anyways, so you get to be an outlaw. You get to raid the train. You get to battle Lawbots, which are robots, so you got some Old West style with some futuristic, like sci-fi stuff. I think
miniatures.
The miniatures, cool chibi miniatures,
dice rolling, poker hands.
And even though it has the sci-fi flair, wouldn't you say that it still feels more Western type?
It does feel more Western.
And we think that's pretty cool because there's not a ton of Western games out. And since it has that crossover, I really like it. I don't gravitate towards Western, but I mean, come on, who doesn't kind of like, you know, a cowboy hat, ma'am? So, anyhow, because
I do like how they incorporated a lot of like references to. I don't know if the base game heroes have references for them, but a lot of the Kickstarter stretch goals, like kind of. You can see where they reference from different shows, like there's Star Wars, there's some anime.
Right. And with that being said, they kind of, with the ones that they picked, it kind of goes into the theme too, because for instance, even though they don't call it, they made the symbol look, they made this figure look just like it. There's like one that looks like Boba Fett. Boba Fett's a bounty hunter. kind of goes in with the whole...
Well, for Trigun Vash the Stampede, he was in like a Western-ish type, futuristic Western-ish thing.
And then you got the Firefly reference, which a bunch of, you know, renegade outlaws in outer space.
Yeah. So they did a good job in pulling the characters.
I think they... Enough of that. Let's get on to, unless you have anything else to say, let's get on to components and...
I do.
Okay.
Ma'am.
You're so stupid. I don't even know why I do these videos with this clown. Okay? I just don't even know why. But we're going to get to, as we normally do, we're going to get to components. We're going to go into setup and mechanics, and then we're going to show you the gameplay. Then we'll be back with a review. We do the same thing every time.
It's like all our episodes.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we'll see you in a second.
Let's go through the components for Rail Raiders, Mickey.
All right.
I think the first thing we should start with are the train cars, which kind of make up the...
Yep, so that's going to be your board, basically, for this game. And here are all your train cars. You have a caboose and a locomotive that are always in play, and then your regular, you know, whatever you call them, the cars in between, the train cars in between those two are going to be randomized from this pile, and as you can see, there's a good variety here of different types of cards, and we'll get into more of that later, but there's a good stack of those, and like I said, a locomotive and a caboose.
Okay, next up are the infinite dice.
Here are the dice.
They don't look like normal D6s, Mickey.
No, they don't, Jeb. That's because they represent playing cards, starting with the 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. So those are your 6 symbols for the dice. They're all the same. They're just using the playing cards 9 through Ace for rolling. This is a few more dice than supposedly is going to be in the retail box, because again, some of this stuff we're showing you is Kickstarter stuff.
And who do we get to play as, Mickey?
You get to play as
the Raiders.
The Raiders. You have, these are your Raider cards. You have abilities on them and some pretty snazzy artwork.
Yep. And
right out of the box, you have some really cool chibis that go along with those cards. The hero / Raiders are, or actually in this case, bandits. They're not really heroes. So anti-hero for this game, whatever you want to call it. They're in gray, so you can easily, you know, find the heroes when they're all mixed together.
Well, if they're gray, who's blue?
Oh, blue are the Lawbots. Lawbots are the futuristic law enforcement, old western type of guys.
There's 3 different kind, right?
Yep, so there's a deputy, there would be a sheriff, and then there would be a marshal.
Then there is the dealer token.
Dealer token. Here's the fancy upgrade one. There's the cardboard punch-out one.
Then there are loot tokens.
There's your loot token. We're back over here. So loot tokens are what you're going to be able to search for. On the train cards, they have a picture of a treasure chest on one side and a random number on the other side.
Okay, after that are the $double tokens.
Okay, now I can point to this pile. These are your $double tokens. This is the upgrade from the Kickstarter. You got little plastic ones.
The plastic ones, I think, they do have numbers on them. They can't see it too well, but the size difference
yeah, the size. Here, let me
key.
I'll put them out there real quick for you.
Is it a 1, a 5, and a 10?
Yep, and that's the same with the coins. So 1, 5, 10. Here's what they look like in gold. That's what they look like in paper.
Okay, then let's do the loot cards.
Loot cards that you potentially might be able to acquire during the game. All kinds of different loots. Some are weapons or other type of equipment, and some are just, hey, you found some more money.
Yep.
Double dollars, they call it in this game.
Then there are the High Noon cards.
High Noon cards. This is one of the interesting parts of the game. Not a mechanic that you've never seen, but one that I kind of like in games. So this is what's going to basically form the timer for the game based on the number of people. You're going to take these cards out, form a deck. When the deck runs out, you'll be done with the game. And they all do something, because you're going to draw one every turn, and it's going to have an effect on the game.
Then there are the Long Arm of the Law cards.
Long Arm of the Law cards. So here's the stack of those. That's what the back looks like. Here are some pictures. Basically what these cards do are populate the train cars with the bad guys. So every time...
You say bad guys, but they're...
The good guys.
They're good guys. They're law enforcement.
I know, we're the good guy. Well, we're the bad good guys in this game. Yeah. So the good guys are the bad guys.
The good bad guys.
The law enforcement. Alright, so these represent a law enforcement.
Yeah.
And that's when the tiles get flipped over. It tells you how to populate by drawing X number of those cards. Then you put these on there. There are other things that can put things on or move them around, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that later. But essentially, that's what those cards are for.
Yep. And then the last thing is the player reference card.
Yep. So a couple, they give you four double-sided, low cheat sheets. There's really not much to remember cheat in this game. So basically, it's like poker hands, what's higher. That'll come into play with the dice. So you always know, based on what people get, who's got the higher hand. And then on the back, it basically says how much, when you kill a Lawbot, how much money you get. So that's it for the reference cards.
Alright, I think that's all the components of the game.
Yep.
So we should probably...
rule book in a box.
Yeah, well, those are important. Let's get into setup. Alright, so we will get into how to set up. So, let's start. The first thing you do is choose your raiders. So each of the players are going to... What the rules say is that they're going to do a roll-off, and whoever wins gets to choose, and then I believe clockwise you go around and pick your raiders. I don't think that's a hard rule that you have to follow. You can just pick the people you want to be if everybody agrees on that. But if somebody wants to do it this way, you should probably do that, right?
I agree. Like Jeb just said, there's basically a, hey, we're going to do a roll-off, like explaining the rules, which we'll explain to you in just a minute. And then you would just go around the table and people would be able to pick their character. The other suggestion they say is just shuffle up the cards and deal one to each person. You do it that way. Or if nobody's very picky, pick your favorite chibi and just be that hero. These are 6 that you have to choose from the base game. There's a lot more via Kickstarter. I don't know how many are exclusive and how many are going to end up on the street. If not, you could always pick them up at a convention. That's usually what they do. Anyways, as you can see, they're kind of cool. So that's the first step. Somehow figure out how to get your character. All that being said, us describing to you that it doesn't really matter how you pick, but one of the official ways, and this is an important concept throughout the game, so we're going to show you how to do it now, is what they call a roll-off. You're going to use these in showdowns. You're going to use these in ties. But basically what you're doing is you're taking 5 die, unless you have some kind of modifier. You're going to take 5 die. You're going to roll it, and then whoever has the highest poker hand, so to speak, wins. So I'll roll 5, Jeb will roll 5.
And since this is before the game even starts, there are no modifiers.
Right.
So it's just a straight up.
Just straight up 5.
So I got 2 9s, a queen, a king, and an ace. So,
and Mickey has 2 pair.
So the best I have is 1 pair. Mickey has 2 pair.
Right.
In the rule book or on the cheat sheet, it tells you what the rank of those hands are.
So I can read these to you real quick, but you'll be able to see them. So a single high die, so if everybody just doesn't have a pair of anything, it's basically the highest dice wins. Okay. That's rank 1. Rank 2 is a pair.
Again, which I have.
Right. And again, it's whatever the highest value of the pair. If there's
A tie.
A tie. Then 2 pairs, which is what I got. So I have, that's a rank 3. A rank 4 is 3 of a kind. I think we can all determine what 3 of a kind means. Rank 5 is a straight. So remember, you go as low as 9. So you can have, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, or you can have 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. Okay? The rank 6 would be a full house. If you're not familiar with poker terms, basically that means a 3 of a kind and a 2 of a kind. Your 3 of a kind determines if it's higher or lower always. So even if in a full house, even if I have 2 aces on the bottom, but I have 3 9s at the top, and Jeb for some reason has the reverse of this, and he or even not necessarily a reverse, but let's say he has queens or even 10s over 9s. The aces don't mean anything in that case except for being the pair. It's the 3 of a kind that makes the difference in the tiebreaker. Rank 7 is 4 of a kind, and then rank 8, which is the highest, is 5 of a kind. So you got no royal flushes because we don't have any colors going on here.
So Mickey won that, so he gets to choose who he wants to be.
Right. And we just went through that now because that whole dice rolling mechanic is important, so you're going to see it a bunch.
So choose somebody. And
I will take, I like Josie.
I'll be Huckleberry.
Jeff's going to be Huckleberry.
Next up is to build the High Noon deck. So what you're going to do is shuffle all the High Noon cards and pull 8 off the top for each player in the game.
We have played this before, so I'm going to assume they're already shuffled, but there you go. Shuffle, shuffle.
And we are going to set up for a 2-player game.
So if it's a 2-player game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And those
go
back
out
to the box.
These get their own quick shuffle after you've done the 8. And shuffle those up, and there you go. You have a High Noon deck. Boom.
Next up, shuffle the long arm of the law deck. And all you do is shuffle that deck.
Yep.
There's
nothing to this one. No anything. Long arm of the law again are the ones with the thing that looks like a sheriff badge.
And then after you shuffle that deck, guess what? You're going to shuffle another deck.
Woo!
A loot deck.
Another deck. And a loot deck, the whole thing. Shuffle, shuffle. We won't rifle shuffle this time.
Alright, so you got those 3 decks. So next you want to build the train. So what you're going to do is remove the locomotive and caboose car. Probably caboose here.
Alright, we're going to do caboose there. We're going to do locomotive there. Can you still see locomotive, Jim?
I can see half of it.
Alright,
I think that's good
close enough. Alright.
Alright, and then what you're going to do is shuffle all of these tiles face down so you don't know what they are. And then you will refer to the book. Depending on the number of players is how many are going to be used to build the train. So in a 2-player game, you're going to take 4 train cars.
Right.
So
in a 2-player game, we take 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest of the cars are out of the game.
And you will leave these face down.
Right. And you're going to set them up like this. We're not going to put all 4 out just for camera purposes. Just know that these are in the row. We're just going to leave them out. Remember, 4 here, not 2.
Alright. So once you have that built, you want to arrange the tokens. So you will take all the loot tokens, put them face down, and mix them all up.
Yep. Face down. These are the loot tokens. Just put them by the board somewhere. We're going to put them right here.
Alright, and the final thing is to determine the dealer.
The other tokens in the game are the money, and you can have a pile of dice somewhere too.
Yeah. So lastly, you're going to determine the dealer. So each player is going to roll 5 die like we did before. And whoever has the best hand is the dealer for the first round of the game.
2 pair ace high.
Oops, that was a 10. I got 1 pair. So you win that again.
Alright, so that means I get the dealer chip and I'm going first.
Yep. And that is everything for setup.
Now that you've set up, honestly, I feel like this next part that we're going to talk about should be part of setup, but they don't put it under part of setup.
Yeah.
It really should be.
Yeah,
okay?
It's kind of between setup and
first
gameplay.
turn. Yeah. So this is just remember that what we're going to do now is called getting on the train or boarding the train or something like that. The point is, what we're doing right now, this initial one, is not part of anybody's turn.
Yes.
Okay? So what we're doing is we're going to attempt to board the train. Now, that means that I can either get on the caboose, just get on the caboose, or I can attempt to get on a car farther up on the train. In order to get onto a car farther up the train, you pick the car, you count how many away it is from the caboose, and then you add 2. For instance, if I go to this car, it's 1 car away from the caboose, I add 2, I get 3. That means that I need a rank of 3 on a roll or better to board this car on the train. Okay? So, logically, if I wanted to try to get to this car, it would be 1, 2, plus 2. I would have to get a rank of 4 or more. Remember what we talked about when Jeb and I were talking about the ranks of the game. That's basically roll the 5 dice, check out your card. If your the best hand that you made, if it's not that rank or better, you can't get on that train, and you stay sitting on your card until it's your actual turn.
Yep.
So and remember again, this is not a complete train.
Right. So we're going to go, what the book says is that the dealer is the one who starts it, and then clockwise around the table people get to try to hop on the train. So Mickey, what are you going to do?
I like always to try to get on the first car. It seems relatively reasonable. I haven't played the game enough to know if it's worth trying to go hog wild and go all the way up the train. So, that being said, I need to roll a rank 3 or higher to start to get on the train in that spot, which would mean I need 2 pairs, which I did not get. So I have failed, and I will remain on my card.
Alright, since I'm next and I saw Mickey fail, I want to play it safe. So instead of not attempting to get anywhere further, I am just going to place my guy on the caboose for free. I don't have to roll a hand to do that.
Yep.
So that would go around for every player.
Yep.
And then once that's finished, now the game actually begins.
Right. And so I am still the first player because, again, that was just sort of a semi-setup, even though it's a boarding the train action. That never happens again in the way that we just did it. You can get booted off the train, but it doesn't work the same as what we just showed you. Anyways, you're going to go from the dealer, which is the first player. You're going to take a turn, which consists of 3 phases, and you're going to go around the table until each person has done their 3 phases, and then a new round will start.
Right.
Now, Jeb, how do we start the phases?
Okay, so the first phase is high noon phase.
Okay.
And that is to draw, or the player whose turn it is draws the top card of the high noon deck and resolves it.
Right. Now, since I am first player, and I am not on the train, what happens, Jeb?
I don't know.
And that's a good answer, because this is one of the parts in the rule book that isn't explicitly spelled out. Jeb and I have come to our conclusion on what we think is right, because it's not there exactly. We think that this caboose says if I start my turn here, I don't have to pick a high noon card. That's the only thing that we've seen there are other things, but to start the game that you don't have to do that particular action. So our assumption was that they want us to try to get on the train and draw a high noon card.
because Mickey is technically not starting on the caboose, which says at the start of your turn, you don't have to draw it. Right. Since he's off of it, it means he's going to draw one no matter what. Right. But we think that you should attempt to board the train before you see what information
that the high noon cards are, because having played the game, some of these things are helpful in certain situations. So that's the way we decided to play it. It could be backwards. It could be right. Maybe there's something else that we don't know. That's the way we're playing it. We think that it works fine. If you want to play it a different way, if the rules are more clear to you, it's not going to hurt the game. Yeah. I mean, it would be very minor, in our opinion, if you played it a different way. I am going to choose not to. I am just going to get on the train. That's the safe route. I don't want to miss my turn, because the results of trying again to get on the train and on my turn, not that thing we did before, would be lose, flip a high noon card, and then I get no actions.
Right.
So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I get my actions. Going to go on the caboose.
And now he gets to do the next fate.
And I don't get to do the caboose thing because I didn't start there. So,
he has to draw the high noon.
I will now start my phases. I will draw a high noon card. And we will do what it says. I have fire the main thrusters. And it's going to discard the top card of the high noon deck. So that's gone. And now that is gone.
And I think now we should say the high noon deck represents how long the game is going to go on. Because once the high noon deck the last card is drawn of the high noon deck, then at the end of that round, the game is over.
Yep.
So as you can see, that one already milled part of the high noon deck.
Two cards are already gone. So that's an important thing to remember. Now, what are the actions I'm allowed to do now that I've completed the high noon phase?
Once the high noon phase is over, you get 3 actions on your turn. The 3 actions are move, showdown, or search. And I think there's one called pass, but I mean that's just not taking.
It's just not doing it. It's like you're not forced to do anything basically.
So the first thing is let's go over move. So Mickey, if you spend an action to move, how does that work?
If I spend an action to move, then I move to an adjacent car. Seeing as there's no car over here, since that's a caboose, I could take my figure and I could move it here.
Alright, well that is an upside down car. We don't know what's there, so what happens?
So, any train car that is face down, if you start your turn, or if you move to a face down card during your turn, not by being moved by somebody else, then the card flips over and we see what happens. That would be a passenger card.
The first thing you want to do is read the passenger car effect, which says when a raider starts their turn here and this card is face up, one of the lowest ranking Lawbots here moves 1 card towards the locomotive.
Right.
So that was when you start
your turn. So no effect when it flips over. The next thing you would do for a flipped over train car is you look at this symbol, which is the long arm of the law symbols. That tells you how many of those you're going to flip over. That's this deck, so I will flip over 2.
And you resolve them in the order that you draw them.
Right. So we've got sheriff. Put a sheriff on the car. There he is.
All right.
And I will draw another one. Take aim. Put 1 deputy on the car. Now it has a deputy, and it has a grit. So this is an important part of some of the long armor of the law will have a keyword called grit, and then that means we're going to place it by the card. This card is then in effect until somebody attacks a law part. I can't read it now, Jeb. Could you tell them what the grit does?
Grit. Lawbots on this car roll 1 additional die in fights.
Okay, so they're going to get an extra die. That's not very good for me. The important thing to remember about grit is once you've had a showdown with the Lawbots, that goes away. Yes. So it only lasts for 1 time.
And if there's multiple cards that have grit that you draw, what do you do then?
Then you would, like if this card had grit on it, that would have been on the bottom, and then I would put the next one on top. So it forms a stack. The top one is the only one that's in effect.
Yep.
Alright, and then the second thing I do is I look at the loot and what the number of loot is. I go over to the loot pile. I randomly pick 2, put those face down on the train car. Now it's populated. Now you've just seen move, and you've seen what happens if where you move is still a face down train car, and you've seen what to do in terms of populating a train car. You've also seen what it means when you pick a grit card out of the long arm of the law cards. I know that was a lot to say because all of that happened, and really what we were trying to show you is how to move. Yeah. But everybody knows how to move, so we really just killed a whole bunch of birds with one stone.
The next thing is to do a showdown.
This gets a little more complicated. Not the action itself, but there are things to consider. So we're going to do it step by step. So the most simple would be, I'm in here, there are Lawbots, I can target a Lawbot for a showdown. Okay? That's the most simple. It starts to get a little more complex, so to speak, if another raider is on the train. Since we're all trying to get loot, the other raider, if he's in here, may decide, I want to join in on the showdown.
Yep.
And so at that point, once I declare I'm having a showdown with a Lawbot, we go around the table and I say, Jeb, do you want to participate in the showdown?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so Jeb declines. Now we go to the next person. Do you want to participate in the showdown?
No!
So again, obviously, I'm talking through this. That's really a fast step. You just go, anybody want to participate? They go yes or no. You're good to go. Now,
I'll just move back here for now.
Alright, so then I take my 5 dice, any modifiers that I have, and then
the person to your left gets to be
roll
for the Lawbots.
Gets to roll for the Lawbots. If they are participating in it, then it would go to the next person. And then if they were participating in it, it goes to the next person. And so on. If it goes all the way around the table because everybody is participating, then the dealer, meaning myself in this case, would be the controller of the Lawbots. And it actually does make a difference. So we're going to roll. We're going to have a showdown. Roll the dice just like we showed you before. Highest hand is going to win.
I got 2 pair, queen high.
I got nothing. I literally got nothing. I have an ace. Okay.
All right.
So, in this situation, remember...
Oh, actually, sorry. With this grit, I was supposed to roll an extra die.
He's still going to win.
I know. Yeah, so same thing.
Alright. So, or the Lawbots one. He was playing the Lawbots. So, anytime the raider, or there's a loss, or whatever, the losing raiders have to move to an adjacent car. The winner gets to decide where they move to. So in this case, the Lawbots are the winner. Jeb controls the Lawbots. He gets to take my figure and move it somewhere.
Bam. So.
And there you go. Now, let's just assume that I won. If I had won, I would get to remove the lowest ranked Lawbot. The rank is Deputy, Sheriff, Marshal. Marshal is not on the board. So, the Deputy comes off. A Deputy is worth 1 coin. So, I get a coin for collecting the parts, because they're robots, to put in my stash. And that is a showdown action. Now, let me back up a little bit, and let's say that Jeb stayed in the battle.
Okay.
Alright? So, we would roll.
So, Mickey declared a battle, or showdown with the Lawbots. He asked me if I wanted to participate. I'm going to say yes.
So now the person who controls the Lawbots, to Mickey's left is me, but I'm in the showdown, so I can't control them. So Mickey's going to control them.
Right.
So I'll put these dice over here for him to roll later.
So I'm going to roll mine. I'm going to roll the Lawbots. Oh, they got 3 of a kind.
I have a pair.
All right.
Well, one thing we need to mention there's rules with the higher ranking Lawbots.
Yep, we forgot about that.
Since there is one sheriff,
he gets a reroll.
So one of these dice or die can get re-rolled.
And I get to decide which one would get re-rolled.
You could actually screw it up now.
So this is actually why one of the dealer things, but if I ended up getting an ace, I am going to try to break up a pair, but I could end up with, it's just bad all the way around. They get that, so I don't have a choice in doing it, so I guess I'll break up the 10s even though it doesn't matter. And I re-rolled a 10. So it's exactly the same.
If there had been a marshal there, the marshal would mean that the Lawbots get an extra die to roll.
Right, so they would have actually had 7 die to roll on that.
Yeah.
Alright, so the point of this was, though, to show...
3 people in a showdown.
3 people in a showdown. In this situation, I won, and I was the one initiating it. The Lawbots lost, and Jeb lost.
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to kick Jeb out because, remember, the raider has to move to an adjacent car.
And in this case, if it's a raider that you defeat, if that raider has more money than you, you get to take 1 coin from, or $1 double dollar from them, and then kick them off.
Right.
So right now I have no money. Mickey has $1 double dollar, so him kicking me out, he doesn't get to steal anything.
Right. And then I would remove, again, the lowest Lawbot and gain a coin. You don't have to give me one this time because we're just going through scenarios. Alright, now, one more time, let's say, here's an interesting situation. Let's assume that the Lawbots got ace high. They won. Alright? Lawbots won. I'm in charge of the Lawbots. Both the Raiders lost. I get to move everybody, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move Jeb backwards and me forwards. So, I just wanted to show one more time, like, it's kind of some decisions to make in terms of, like, does Jeb really want to participate? Do you want to let me be in charge of the Lawbots when I'm the one fighting?
Yep.
Because if I lose, I get pushed, but I get to decide where I'm going to go. And then, since it's still my turn, I get to flip that over and see what happens. So it's not as bad as, in my opinion, as pushing Jeb back because I'm in the heart of the train. That's speculation on strategy, but whatever. Is there any other scenarios with this that you can think of, Jeb? What happens if you win?
If I win, I get to choose what happens to Mickey, so I'm going to push him. And then I get to take money.
And then he takes my only coin because I have more money than him.
And then I will get to kill one of the Lawbots.
Right.
And then I get to take money from that.
Right.
And that's strategic because if I had killed the Lawbot before I moved you, then I wouldn't be able to take your money.
Exactly.
So, and then, like we said earlier, if there had been a marshal there, then the Lawbots would have been able to get an extra die. This guy allows the reroll. And then another, I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but when the Lawbots lose and you destroy one, you have to destroy the lowest ranking one.
I think I said that. So, yeah, it's always the lowest rank first.
And then this guy's worth 2 coins, and then the marshal's worth 3 coins.
So that's another reason why you have to do them from lowest to highest, because you can't. It would kind of be broken if you were allowed to go in there and just target the. You could rack up the coin quickly, and basically hopefully we said it, but you just want to get the most loot in this game.
Yeah, that is the goal. So the last action you can do is a search action. For the search action, if you have no Lawbots on your car, you are able to take the search action, and you will flip any of the one of the loot
You get to randomly pick whichever one you want. Remember, the key is, and we already took them off,
Yeah.
you have to have no Lawbots on here.
So let's show them what
Yep.
just...
So if I flip one, oh, awesome. I got a 3. So the way that works is I draw 3 loot cards from the deck. I get to look at them. And in this case, I got all equipment. And I would probably take this weapon right here. And this one allows me, whenever I'm in a fight, I get to roll an additional die. I just place that by my hero. There are no limits to the number of weapons or items you can hold, but during a battle, you have to pick which weapon you are using before the battle starts.
Right.
Okay?
And then after he does
I
that,
discard the rest.
he'll take the token he flipped, face down, put it back in the pile, and shuffle those around.
Mix them up again so that we don't know where that one is.
Alright, so let's do this scenario. Mickey, can you search?
I cannot search.
Alright, that was an easy scenario. How about this scenario?
I can search, but
I can interfere with the search.
he can interfere. So, if I declare a search, and there are other raiders in the train car, they can decide that they want to try to stop my search.
Yep.
So, if I'm here and I'm like, Jeb, I'm searching.
I'm gonna stop you.
Okay. Guess what we do?
We roll.
We get into a fight.
And that's key, because fight, you can use your weapons.
Right.
So
Showdown is the action of fighting.
Yep.
But getting into a fight is like triggering the keyword fight. So I'm not taking a showdown action. I am actually trying to take a search action.
I got a pair of ace.
And I lose because I got a pair of 10s. Oh!
You do have a gun.
Oh, I have a gun, Jeb.
And you've got your ability.
And...
Right?
Oh, yeah, you're trying to oppose me. So first, let's roll this. Which I got an ace.
Ugh.
So now I have 2 aces and 2 10s. I've already beat Jeb.
So there's no need to use your ability.
But let's just, because I can.
Which is, if somebody opposes his search action, he can re-roll one of his die.
But it didn't make it any better. I was hoping to just rub some more ace power in his face. But anyways, I got 2 pair. He got 2 aces.
So Mickey wins, and what happens is his search is successful, and we resolve it like a fight would resolve.
Right, just like a showdown. So I get to move him.
And if I had more money
than him,
then I would give him one.
I'll throw him back in the caboose, and then I get to resolve the search. I got 1 loot card this time, so I'll just flip it and oh look, this one's just straight up money. So discard it. Jeb gives me a double $1. And I now have more loot than Jeb, and I pushed him back. This gets put back into the loot pile, and that's how you resolve that. The last point of that would have been just if during that showdown, if Jeb would have won, I wouldn't get the search action. He would get to move me. If I had more coins, he would have taken one.
After you do 3 actions on your turn, it's the cleanup phase where you just do any bookkeeping and clean up anything. Like, for instance, this is still left on the board. It should have gone away after that showdown when Mickey did a showdown with the Lawbot, so this would have gone away.
Yep.
So that's pretty much everything for your turn.
There are a couple cards that actually stay for the whole turn. So
yeah.
One of those would have been a perfect example of a cleanup, like Jeb just said, you just toss it in a discard.
Yep, so that was Mickey's turn. Then it would go to me to do my turn, and then once I finish my turn, then it's the end of the round. And at the end of the round, we begin the next round, and we do that by rolling to see who is the dealer.
So the poker chip for the first player is up for grabs again.
Yep.
You do... Now, this isn't... we haven't seen any. As far as I know, there aren't any cards, but this is basically just a roll-off.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a straight-up 5. Jeb and I each roll 5 die.
2 aces.
3 jacks.
Alright, you are the dealer again.
And I get to be dealer again.
And this just keeps going until, like we said, the last high noon card is drawn, and then at the end of that round, not turn, the game is over.
Right.
And the game, like Mickey said earlier, you're trying to get the most money in the game. So when the game ends, whoever has the most money is the winner.
Just remember to flip these at the beginning of your turn.
Yes, that is very important.
Right, because that is, like Jeb said, this is the timer. So if you go a bunch of turns and you know, and you finally realize that the last 3 people didn't flip a card, well, you've really kind of messed up the whole timing mechanism for the game. So you want to remember like we say in a lot of the videos, go step by step during your phases. Make sure you actually do the phases. That's pretty much it for the mechanics. Most of the cards and the train cards are pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you guys are going to have any problems with it. Pretty sure we covered everything pretty thoroughly, so if there was something you didn't catch, I would just watch that little intro section again. If something's not making sense, and you'll probably, I'm pretty sure that we probably said it. That being said, we are going to set up a 2-player game, but we are going to set up the whole train. This was just for mechanics, and you'll get to see us play 2 players, Mickey against Jeb, on a full train with a game of Rail Raiders Infinite.